What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Dark Phoenix. Just got back from the theater not too long ago. And I won't lie, I mentioned this in some other videos, but I was scared shitless about this movie coming out and about how my experience or my viewing would go, would I love it or would I hate it or would I just like it, because all the critics, they said, oh, the movie's terrible, fuck it, but I stopped listening to Rotten Tomatoes a long time ago. But then when actual X-Men fans who were fans like Geekdom 101, Chris Stuckman, well, not so much Chris Stuckman, but Jeremy Jones and a few other guys, when they said, yeah, the movie's shit, I was like, fuck. I was like, But then Mundane Matt Jarbo came and said, like, oh, I love the movie. I'm like, oh, great. So then I got to the theater. So I was there. You guys even saw my phone on my tour. I was like, wait, I should show the picture of my ticket. I was like, please don't suck. Please don't suck. Please don't suck. And, well, I fucking love this movie, man. This movie was fucking awesome. I love this. Hell, I dare say it was one of my favorite X-Men movies. I'm talking top 3, top 5, good. I love this movie. I don't know what the fuck them critics were fucking smoking, but then again, they hated Godzilla, King of Monsters, which, what the fuck were you expecting that? They hated Man of Steel, they hated BVS, all movies that were either great or awesome. So fuck the critics. As far as, geekdom's concerned, nah, that's his opinion, whatever. But anyway, so this is the culmination. I wouldn't even really call it the culmination of 19 because this isn't like Endgame, but it was marketed that way, and I can see why. This is, of course, the final X-Men movie that we're going to be seeing by Fox, and of course, and we won't see them. Of course, we won't see them into the MCU until 2023, if I remember correctly, which isn't that far off. Realistically, it ain't that far off. It's like 4 years. So yeah. I'll let Kevin Feige take all the time he needs to get everything ready to how to bring the X-Men in to the MCU. I hope he brings them in like where it's like they were always the movies. I don't want it to be like, oh, mutants just now pop up, because that's too easy. I want him to think of a way to put them in there when they were there from the start. I don't want them just be there because that's me personally. That's just me. That is just me. Anyway, so. The movie is directed by Simon Kinberg. First directorial debut. This is his directorial debut for movie. He did apparently one episode for Jordan Peele's, Twilight Zone series, but this is his film debut. It's not like Hereditary, where that movie just, there are some parts where you can tell this is definitely his first movie, but I honestly say it was better. It sure as hell has a lot more style than Captain Marvel, and that's good to gotta say. And of course the cast includes Sophia Turner, Jessica Chastain, Jennifer Lawrence, which I'll tell actually a little bit about Jennifer Lawrence because I actually got a couple things to say about her. We got Jennifer Lawrence, my man James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Alexandria Shipp, and many more. And so the plot, Dark Phoenix, is of course takes place after the events of Apocalypse. They go on a space mission to rescue some astronauts, and Jean absorbs the Cosmic Phoenix Force. I only know it's the Cosmic Phoenix Force because some of the reviews I was watching told me it was the Cosmic Phoenix Force. I thought it was just the Phoenix Force, but no, it's the Cosmic Phoenix Force. Which for some reason they never call it the Phoenix Force in the movies. They just call it this Force. They never call it the Phoenix Force. They called Jean the Phoenix one time, but that was like she rose. But I was like, why don't you just call it the Phoenix Force? It's the Phoenix Force. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, they never in the movie straight call it the Phoenix Force. For whatever reason, of course. Jessica Chastain's her character. She comes in there, finds out Jean can't control the Phoenix Force. She's like, oh my god, what's going on with me? I can't control this, I hurt people. And, she comes in there, tries to take out Jean and to do her bidding with the Phoenix Force. So, yeah. Is this movie better? Now, let me answer a few questions right now. Is this better than The Last Stand? Oh, fuck, yes it is. Does this movie have any... Well, actually, let me answer this one. Does Hugh Jackman make a cameo? Because you guys know Hugh Jackman made cameo appearances in all these X-Men movies. In all the X-Men movies. All these, first class versions. We go back to the past. No, there's no cameo from him. Not surprised at that one. We know Logan was his last movie, but I was kind of like, will he still make a slight cameo in this movie? But he doesn't. There is no post-credit scene if you're wondering. I did say after the post-credits there was nothing. And if you're expecting some connective tissue to finally make this timeline finally make some fucking sense, you are getting this. If anything, they just fucked the timeline even more to where X1 and X2 are pretty much almost retconned. Like, there is a major thing that happened in the movie that just destroys the timeline completely. I won't discuss that for obvious spoiler reasons, but I was like, what? What the fuck? What? Now, granted, if I remember correctly, the actress that plays Storm signed a 3-movie deal, I think, before Apocalypse. So I think they're probably going to make a 3rd movie that'll say maybe in the 2000s that would actually make some sense of this of the timeline. But since that ain't happening, this timeline is completely fucked now. Anyways, let me talk about the cast. First off, Sophia Turner. My God, this woman was fucking fantastic as Jean. The amount of emotion she switches between with the Phoenix Force inside her, great shit. She was probably, out of all the actors in this movie, she was probably the highlight. Jennifer Lawrence. Okay, now we know Jennifer Lawrence does not care about X-Men. We saw this in Apocalypse. And if you guys have been watching my movie reviews for some time now, you guys know that when I watched Mother as well as Red Sparrow, her 2 latest films, or at least the ones that I've seen, I commented about how great her performances were in those movies, and it just kind of reminded me of how great of an actress she is. And I even made a joke, I think it was in my Red Sparrow review, where I said maybe she'll actually care and put out some effort for Dark Phoenix, which, her performance actually really surprised me. It was actually good. It was actually pretty good. Now, when I say this, I don't mean this is as good as she was in, like, Days of Future Past, or even First Class, or even how she was in, of course, Mother, Red Sparrow. It ain't that good. She didn't put that much of it, but I would definitely say she's a lot better here than she was in Apocalypse. I don't know what happened with this woman between the Days of Future Past, which was one of her best performances in Apocalypse, but I don't know, but, yeah, her performance in Apocalypse was not that good. I honestly I feel like I'm one of the few people that actually really enjoyed Apocalypse. I thought it was a great movie. I really, really enjoyed it. But that's just me. So Jennifer Lawrence in here, she was actually pretty good. Not great, nothing really to write home about. It's definitely not one of her best performances, but I would definitely say it's better than Apocalypse. And even the makeup for Mystique actually wasn't that half bad. Because when I saw it, everyone was complaining about how the makeup was, which I don't even put that against the films. We all know Jennifer Lawrence doesn't like the makeup, so they were stuck between a rock and a hard place with that one. But in the movie itself, I don't know if they changed it up with like some stuff in post, but it actually looks pretty good. Like legit, I think it actually looks pretty good. At least in my personal opinion, I thought the makeup looks pretty good. Mystique. James McAvoy, the man's fantastic as Professor X, and so is Michael Fassbender. No, so Alexandria Shipp. Oof, man, do I love her as Storm? She's great, and I love that African accent she does. Great stuff. The rest of the cast is pretty good too. Yeah, the guy who plays Cyclops is pretty good. Honestly, I do hope when the movies do come to the MCU, they don't recast her. What I really do hope they keep the First Class guys, because I really dig this cast, and I would like to see them keep going. But that's just me. So anyway, let me start into the positives with this movie. First off, I gotta say the soundtrack. Okay, you guys might have heard some rumors about Hans Zimmer. This was back like around 2017, I think it was, when the movie was supposed to come out in 2017. Or no, when it was about to come out in 2018 before it got delayed to hell. You guys might remember that there were rumors that Hans Zimmer was doing the soundtrack. I can definitely confirm that yes, he did do the soundtrack, and oh my god, the soundtrack of the movie is amazing. I love the soundtrack, but then again, it's Hans Zimmer's. That man is fucking fantastic. He's one of the best composers out there right now. Although I won't lie, there was actually this one song movie that sounded a lot like the theme from The Dark Knight. You know that whole like there was something that sounded very similar to that. I was like, what did they put some of the Dark Knight soundtrack in here? But hey. The soundtrack's great. The acting I mentioned is superb. Definitely one of the best I've seen, probably in the X-Men movies, especially from Sophia. What was her name again? So yeah, Sophia Turner. She was great. Like I said, she was the best part. So one thing I loved about the movie, I loved how. One thing I loved was Jean. Definitely what happens with Jean, of how we see when she gets the Phoenix Force and everything that happens between when she's, getting there in her performances, and there's a bunch of other great stuff in the movie. The action scenes were great, superb. That final section of the trains, which we know was now put in through reshoots, because we know this movie was in development hell for a long time. The reshoots there with that final section on the train, perfection, man. I fucking love that scene, man. That was fucking amazing. I also really did what they did with Professor X movie. He definitely. Now I know a lot of people said he acts very out of character in this movie, which I can agree. But I think that goes to the movie straight because I love the arc that Professor X went through with everything that happened, what he did to Jean back when she was a kid, and everything that happened since Apocalypse, where he's a lot more. He's almost like his mission is still there, of course, wanting to have mutants work together with humans, but it's probably morphed a lot since what his original message always was, which of course having mutants and humans, coexist. It's kind of morphed a little bit where it's kind of like taking up like where everyone's like views the X-Men as heroes and everything, and it's kind of like God says like he loves all this publicity he's getting, got a medal from the president and everything, and we can see how that's changed and morphed. And Raven also brings us up a couple times in the movie, as well as a few other characters, and I just love the art that Professor X went through the movie. That's just me personally. I love that. I thought the arc that he went through was actually pretty good. Michael Fassbender was great as Magneto. What else? When we see Jean actually using the Phoenix Force, when we see in all its glory, it's fucking fantastic, man. I loved it. And to go back to what I said about Jean, like I mentioned before, I love what they did with Jean with see her with the Phoenix Force and everything. They were even starting this up, and I think this has probably done a lot to the Dark Phoenix saga a little bit more justice than probably would have in the last time. But like I said, I never read before. But one thing I to go back to what I said about Jean is that this movie actually made me care for Jean Grey. Now let me explain. I have never been a fan of Jean Grey, ever. I liked her. I liked the Phoenix. I liked the Phoenix Force thing and her costume thing, but Jean as a character has never been someone that I've really cared about. She's always she's in the same realm as Cyclops, where she's one of those X-Men that I just do not give a fuck about. I don't care about Cyclops. I never really cared about Cyclops in any of the movie. The same thing happened with Jean. I never personally cared for Jean. And that whole love triangle thing in the 3 X-Men movies, I was never a fan of. Which actually, funny story about my history with X-Men. First of all, I gotta say, I always hated the love triangle. I always thought it was super unnecessary. I don't know why the films had that. Is it like that in the comics too? If so, why? That's probably one of the main reasons why I don't like Cyclops or Jean Grey, or never I liked them, because that love triangle was so fucking stupid. Anyway, so funny story. You guys know I love X-Men, but that actually wasn't always the thing. When I was a kid, I was never a fan of X-Men because the films were always a lot more dialogue-heavy movies compared to the Sam Raimi trilogy, which as a kid I fucking love those movies. Even to this day, I still love the Sam Raimi trilogy, but those movies I was never a fan because how dialogue-heavy they were, and they weren't so focused on action as much as, or comedy really, as the Sam Raimi films. So I never liked the X-Men movies growing up. I never liked them. My mom was a huge fan of X-Men. She's been a huge fan of the films. Watched all of them just like me. But it wasn't until I was like around, I want to say, 14 years old when I was able to really appreciate X-Men, because the first X-Men movie I ended up liking was X-Men Origins Wolverine, because Wolverine was always my favorite X-Men too. It was very action focused. Even to this day, I still love Origins. I know, me personally, and I don't love it as a killer person. I legit love Origins. I love the movie. You can say some of my nostalgia, but I legit love Origins. But it was after that when First Class came out, I was starting to be able to appreciate X-Men as I got older. That's something that's the one thing about it I got high. Like X-Men, I was able to appreciate it as I go, because I wasn't able to appreciate the first 2 films. Because I was never a fan of Last Stand, honestly. I mean, I honestly say The Last Stand is a good movie, but it's a terrible X-Men movie. It wasn't until I was around 14 years old when I was actually able to really be able to understand and appreciate the X-Men movies. But that was just me. Anyway, back to the review. So I could never really get attached to Jean Grey in any of the films, and or any of the TV series I've seen her in. But here, I really was caring for Jean Grey, and I really felt for her. Because, first it has to do a lot with Sophia Turner's acting. Like I mentioned before, my God, this one was fantastic. I wouldn't say she does. I'm not going to go so far as start campaigning for an Oscar for this one, but my God, was she fucking fantastic. Like, her acting was there, but we see everything that goes down, the fear of when she first gets the Phoenix Force, and she's like, I don't know what I can do with this, and everything, all the emotion she goes through when she gets the Phoenix Force, everything that happens, and when she learns some other stuff that happened with her past, and what stuff that happened with Charles. It all really added to the movie and made me really give a shit about Jean Grey for once. Because like I mentioned before, I never personally cared for her. That's just me. But I have, say what you will about the film, but I have to give the movie props, at least for me personally. What they did with Jean was probably one of the best things we've seen her, which is probably some of the best work we've seen of Jean in any of the films, because we see a lot of her, we see her get, going through all the emotions of her having the Phoenix Force, and she doesn't know what the fuck it is, or what it does, she doesn't want to hurt any of her friends, and everything that happens to her was just so good. I just love what they did with Jean in this movie. She was just, without one of my favorite characters, she became from one of my least favorite X-Men to probably one that I actually really started to care about. I wouldn't go so far as to say she's one of my top favorites, because I wouldn't put her in the same in the same league as Wolverine, Rogue, Nightcrawler, Psylocke, or Magneto. Those are some of my favorite X-Men. I love those guys. But I would definitely say Jean's probably in the same category as Storm. As an X-Men I always like, but definitely not. But probably wouldn't go so far as call her one of my favorites. That's just me with Jean. But here, she went there. I love what they did with her. Like I mentioned before, so Tina Turner's acting was so fucking good. I cannot praise this woman's acting enough. Seriously, she was one of the best parts. Seriously, she knocked out of the park here in Dark Phoenix. And Jean honestly was probably it's probably like one of the main reasons why I ended up loving Dark Phoenix as much as I did, and how much it actually surprised me a lot was because of how just what they did with Jean, and everything that happened, her writing, her development, everything she went throughout the film. That's definitely one of the things that really elevated the film for me and made me love it as much as I did, was because of Jean, what they did with her. So, now with that obviously, let's get into some of my negatives I have with this movie, because this movie was not perfect. I did have some flaws with this movie, so let's get into those. One thing I was kind of disappointed with that we didn't have a scene with Quicksilver like we had in the first one we had in Apocalypse and Days of Future Past. In those two movies, we had that whole scene where it's like where it's all in slow motion, you got the music playing and everything. There wasn't nothing for that, which I was kind of disappointed with, but Quicksilver isn't actually in the movie actually that much, which actually really surprised me. I thought he was going to be in the movie a lot more than he was, but he wasn't. Another negative I had with the movie was the villain in this movie. She sucks. Jessica Chastain's character, she is boring, unoriginal, and uncreative. It's like you could cut this woman out and it would affect nothing. She is terrible. I agree with everyone that there. The villain in this movie sucks. She has no personality. She has no character development. What was her name? Who's the actress that plays her again? Jessica Chastain. She does it fine, but you can't gravitate because she has no personality, nothing really to go with. And anything that happens, and I can't really go much into her character because it is spoilery. But I was just looking at her and I'm just like, yeah, I agree with everyone. This woman is fucking boring. So yeah, she was probably the worst part of the movie, in my personal opinion, was definitely Jessica Chastain's character. She was not all that great, and I did not like her. And also, one other problem I got, I already mentioned this before, but the timeline's completely fucked now. If you ever put any connective tissue in this movie, there is none. There's no setting up of setting up the Brotherhood of Mutants. For some reason, Cerebro is completely wireless here, but yet it's wired in the first X-Men movie. What else? Nightcrawler is still part of the X-Men, even though when he's not in there in X2, and everyone acts like it's the first time they met him, so that doesn't get explained either. There's a lot of stuff with the continuity that's completely fucked with this movie, which that is definitely a problem. I mean, I never really had a big problem with the continuity of the X-Men movies, because I was scratching my head in Apocalypse when Nightcrawler was introduced. I was like, wait, how is Nightcrawler part of the X-Men? He's not in any of the other movies, and they act like he doesn't, like this is their first time meeting him when they see him in X2. But here, it is completely fucked. I was like, what is this? What is going on here? What is this? But yeah, that's one other thing. The timeline is completely fucked. What else? Was there anything else I had problems with? Not really. I mean, yeah, I really don't have really that many flaws in this movie. Really, there was nothing really that really stood out as really bad, other than just all the timeline fuck ups and all the the villain movie. She was terrible. But if you are here for X-Men, you just want to see the Jean Grey be the Phoenix, you see the Phoenix Force in its all its glory, you get that. You want to see the X-Men being the X-Men, X-Jet with their classic, with some comic book accurate suits. That's pretty good. I like it when the X-Men were together and they were facing up against Jean Grey a couple times. Like I mentioned, Jean, when we see her, using the Phoenix Force and everything, it's some great stuff. It's very entertaining, and that final scene on the train was just warmed my heart. This is no Avengers Endgame for X-Men, but I'd honestly say X-Men goes out really well. I think Fox did with all the development hell this movie with. Keep in mind, my expectations were really low for this movie. I was like when this one came out, finally got released, I was just like, just come out at this point. So my expectations were really low, and with all the development hell that it went through, I would also say Fox actually did a lot better than we probably most of us were expecting. So, if you are a fan of X-Men, I definitely say you can check this movie out. And as far as you might have heard some stuff about SJW shit in this movie, it's only one scene, it ain't that bad, and it's very out of left field for X-Men, and I swear somebody at Fox took over the writing for this one scene, but it's only one scene, that's about it, so don't worry, it didn't ruin the movie. That's another thing, that scene right there, wasn't a fan. That's another problem I had with this movie, was that. But besides that, definitely would highly recommend this movie, guys, if you are a fan of X-Men. If you like X-Men, I think you'll end up enjoying this movie. At the very least, I don't think you'll end up hating it. I would definitely agree, say that this is far better than The Last Stand. Far, far, far better than The Last Stand. And I would even say, and like I mentioned before, I love this more than Apocalypse. So, yeah, let me just get into my final verdict, guys, so we can end it off. So anyway, my final verdict for Dark Phoenix is honestly a 10 out of 10. I don't care what any of y'all say. I fucking love this movie. I was shocked with how good it was. Like, when we see the Phoenix Force and everything, the soundtrack was fucking phenomenal, and the acting was probably some of the best in the franchise, honestly, with Jessica, with Sophia Turner and all those guys. They were fucking fantastic. I fucking loved it. And that final act in the train, that was great. Although I did notice on the military guys, on the military guys that were in the train, on their patch it said MCU on it. I could not help but start laughing my ass off when I saw it, because I was like, I don't know if that's a reference to the MCU or not, but let me tell you guys before I end up. Let me tell you guys where I would rank this movie, honestly. So you guys know, you can probably guess my favorite X-Men movie of all time is Logan, without a doubt. Second would go to X-Men: Days of Future Past. I fucking love that movie. It's so good. It's the best when you implemented the future with the past. It was some great stuff, man. Now third, it's honestly a toss-up between this and X2. Because, X2 was so many great things there with, showing up with Wolverine and everything. Here, but with Dark Phoenix, like I said, that they do, I can't tell you they did the Phoenix Saga justice, because I've never read the comic. But I can definitely say I love this a hell of a lot more, and this definitely felt more like the Phoenix Saga than The Last Stand ever did, because this was the whole focus of the movie. We see Jean using the Phoenix Force, and when she does use it, it's always cool to see when she uses the Phoenix Force, man. Just uses it. It's some great shit, man. There's so many great scenes with her and Magneto. Oh man, this movie was just fantastic. This was just such an entertaining movie for me, guys. You guys know that I love my X-Men, and this did everything it needed to, and it shocked me, it shocked the hell out of me, because I was like, Jesus Christ, this movie's probably going to suck, but I ended up being pleasantly surprised. Anyway, I'm done rambling on. I'm going to end it here, guys. So anyway, tell me down below what you guys saw of Dark Phoenix. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think I'm on drugs for how much I love this movie, or do you agree with me? Tell me all that down below. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, affiliate. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.